And now that we've gotten all that out in the open, I think it's time to switch gears just a little bit and get ready for those healthy tips, because today is Healthy You Monday. That's right. And today's Healthy You tackles a very frustrating medical condition. Think about this. Your diet hasn't changed, but you've gained weight. I know everybody's like, yeah, I know how that works. You don't work out, but your muscles ache. You may even feel forgetful or depressed. It could be a thyroid problem. That's right. So here to tell us about this common problem is Dr. Stephen Hotze from the Hotze Health and Wellness Center. And also joining us, Terri Jaggers, Mrs. Texas 2005 is in the house. So glad to have you guys here. Dr. Hotze, we always love it when you come on the show. All the viewers always love it. They call in, wow, I want to know more about this. But this is really important. First of all, a lot of people out there, and excuse us for our ignorance, what is a thyroid?
Well, the thyroid gland is an endocrine gland in the neck that makes a specific hormone, thyroid hormones. Thyroid hormones are chemical messengers that are secreted into the blood and enter our cells and instruct our cells how to produce energy and use energy. And it governs our metabolism. So it's really the most important gland in our body. You can't live without your thyroid gland. And if a person has thyroid surgery and the gland's removed or ablation of the thyroid, they're committed to lifelong thyroid supplementation.
Well, apparently, Terri, you're one of Dr. Hotze's patients. Your thyroid was not given the right instructions, right?
No, it was not.
They weren't given the memo.
No, I was not sleeping at night. I had no energy. My hands were cold. I was having significant memory loss. I had gained 35 pounds without any understanding of why, and I was really frustrated, and to the point where I couldn't remember key things in my life, people that I was working with on a daily basis, colleagues. I couldn't remember their names, and I know that that seems to happen to most people at some point in time, but this was on a regular basis, and it was causing me to not be able to function at a level that I was used to functioning at, and I really thought we had some problems, and it became so significant that my employees and my own mother suggested I go see an Alzheimer's research doctor, and I did, and I took tests, and I was just about ready to become one of those Alzheimer's patients when they realized that possibly I had thyroid instead. So I went to Dr. Hotze, and sure enough, I got on his regimen, and I lost the 35 pounds.
You do look great. You look fabulous.
Thanks. Doesn't she? And I know his name.
Yeah, I know. But you know what, as Terri's saying, is these seem like a lot of symptoms that most women get. You know, these forgetfulness because we have so much going on in our lives. You add kids to the mix, and then you don't sleep well because you have so much going on, and then you gain weight because you're not exercising. So if you look at her symptoms, Terri's symptoms seem typical of a woman who's just overworked and busy and kind of like all of us these days. So how would we differentiate those from what she was actually having, which was a thyroid problem?
Well, you do it by history, and oftentimes these symptoms that Terri had, we say, well, it's just due to our stress and the fact that we have all these responsibilities. But we've got to consider maybe it's due to the fact that we have not enough thyroid in our system. And your thyroid hormone governs, we talked about your metabolism. So these are the common symptoms we see in women. They'll complain of fatigue. 50% will have difficulty with weight, inability to focus, depressed moods, inability to sleep soundly, joint muscle aches and pains, cold hands, cold feet, hair loss, hair falling out, loss of romantic moods and inclinations. Has that ever happened to any of you ladies out there?
That was exactly.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of women saying that, you know, well, they just have lost their mojo, right?
They lost their desire, they don't care.
Right, and they said mostly
that's when it's bad.
Yeah, when you lose your mojo. Yeah, but you, I mean, 7 kids. You have 7 kids.
I do.
So yeah, you had to have your mojo somewhere around there.
What's interesting about Terri is that she was going to an Alzheimer's clinic, and when she found out about us, and we got her on Armour Thyroid, on her natural bioidentical hormones, 6 months later, she won Mrs. Texas in May of 2005, which is really a remarkable turnaround.
That is 6 months after you saw Dr. Hotze, then you were crowned
I got to
Mrs.
give her
Texas.
the credit, but she got on the program and did wonderful.
My kids decided that I'd make a good contestant, so they registered me.
Oh, that's so cute. That really is. Lo and behold, you did make for a good one.
That's right.
But let's talk a little bit about actually how to cure this, because you have a different approach. A lot of doctors just give, it's a synthetic hormone,
well,
and
this is the difference. One is the way you evaluate, and the second is the way you treat. Those physicians that even think about thyroid problem will diagnose it specifically on a blood test alone. We use rather than conventional, we use alternative and complementary approach. We listen to our patient. And most women in midlife, and men as they get older too, will have a declining level of their thyroid hormones. Women will have an imbalance in their female hormones and an absolute stopping of those at menopause, and that adversely affects their ability to utilize thyroid hormone. So we go through a clinical history. We base it on clinical history. Use a blood test, but not as the sole way to make the diagnosis. And then when we treat, we use Armour thyroid, natural thyroid, which has been around and FDA approved, has been around for 100 years, rather than the synthetic
one.
And the reason
why don't you use synthetic?
In our experience clinically, after seeing thousands and thousands of women, it just doesn't have the positive effect. Women will come in on synthetic thyroid with all the symptoms of low thyroid. It will normalize their blood, but it doesn't normalize their symptoms.
Okay. And then what about what I've read a couple of natural substances? You could go to like GNC and they say look out for those because the FDA doesn't regulate them. But I'm hearing women at home, they're saying, well, I don't have the money to go see Dr. Hotze, so I have all those symptoms that Terri has. Right. So I'm just going to go to GNC and read these things where it says thyroid problems, try this. What should they look out for if they do that?
Well, it's dangerous. If somebody's trying to treat themselves on thyroid, you should be seen by a physician and to monitor you, because just like anything, you take too much thyroid, it can be unhealthy for you, just as much as too little could be bad for you.
Right.
So I think it's probably wise to have somebody with clinical experience who's treated thousands of women to follow you and monitor you.
Well, there you go, Dr. Hotze. I think you're that person. And you also have a great book out. So anyway, this is Dr. Hotze's book, and all of our audience members are going home with it. So it's fantastic. And Terri, I want to thank you for being here also.